Hi there, I'm Vincent Boss and I provide dating and self-improvement advice. And in today's podcast, we're going to be discussing, does a dumper ever unblock a dumpee? I provide audio coaching to help people try and get their ex back or get a new girlfriend or boyfriend. Check out my website for more details. www.dateme.tips. Please check your spam and junk folders if you are expecting an email from me. So now let's get back into today's podcast. And today we are discussing, does a dumper ever unblock a dumpee? So if you have been dumped, it can be very painful. If you are then blocked, it can feel devastating. The good news is that there is every chance that one day in the future, your ex will unblock you. But why might they change their mind? In today's podcast, I'm going to discuss 3 reasons why a dumper might unblock their dumpee. So let's get straight into this. And number 1 is the dumper regrows attraction. So first of all, we need to look back to the beginning when both of you was in a relationship. When 2 people are in a loving romantic relationship, they are both feeling a high level of romantic emotional attraction for one another. Now, for various potential reasons, this level of attraction has dropped for one or both people, and when it hits the necessary low point, this is when a dumper will likely action the breakup. So at the time of the breakup, the dumper is feeling a very low level of romantic emotional attraction for their now former partner. So what we need to understand is that one of the possibilities as for why a dumper will unblock their dumpee is that they have regrown attraction. Now, there are many reasons and possibilities as for why a dumper will end up blocking their dumpee. Some dumpers will block their dumpee at the time of the breakup, and this might not be based on anything other than the fact they're thinking the relationship is over, I don't want to hear from them again, I want a clear slate, I want to move forward in a way where I'm no longer thinking about my former relationship. Other instances, the dumper will not block the dumpee at the time of the breakup, but they might end up blocking the dumpee due to the way the dumpee behaves post-breakup. Possibly the dumpee is behaving in a way which is needy, desperate, being somebody who's not taking no for an answer. All of these types of things can be why a dumper will end up blocking their dumpee. But what we need to understand is that at the time of the blocking, the dumper is making a statement. I absolutely do not want to hear from you again. If you try and cheat the blocking, if you try and break through this blocking, then I might have to take things further. And this can possibly mean contacting the authorities and even trying to go as extreme as possibly trying to get a restraining order on their former partner. All of these things are sadly possibilities. But if we are to consider that at the time of a breakup, the attraction level is very low, and the blocking has been caused for various potential reasons, we need to understand that at this time, the dumper is not interested in their dumpee in any single way. But that doesn't mean this is how they're going to be feeling in the future. We have to realise that feelings are expressed in the moment. When both of you was together in the relationship, as we pictured a little bit earlier on when I was describing this, you were both feeling a high level of attraction for one another. You both would have said that you loved each other. At that moment, it probably seemed inconceivable that you would ever break up, let alone be blocked. So as we can see, feelings change. Unfortunately, you are now blocked, whereas previously, your former partner said they loved you. So on the same basis, we have to consider that as time moves forward, there is an opportunity that one day you will be unblocked, and one of these possibilities is if a dumper regrows attraction. Now, attraction can be grown for lots of reasons and in lots of ways. I always suggest as a dumpee, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first, and move forward via using my version of the no contact rule. The no contact rule is something that lots of people suggest you implement if you've been dumped and want to try to get your ex back. However, there are many different versions of a no contact rule that you can find online, and I believe that my version will give you the best possible chance of success. So I suggest that you subscribe to my YouTube channel, ring the bell for notifications, and check out my playlist entitled The No Contact Rule. This is where you can fully immerse yourself in my version of the rule and understand why I believe it will give you the best possible chance of success. Because look, nothing's guaranteed. There is no 100% guaranteed way to get your ex back, but if you do everything right, you'll stand every opportunity of regrowing attraction in your ex's mind. And this will enable a possibility of if and when the dumper regrows attraction and starts to feel feelings but they didn't previously, this is when they might unblock you. If a dumper wants to reconnect with their dumpee, if a dumper wants to give their dumpee a second chance, you might say, then the first step, of course, is to unblock them if they had blocked. So consider it this way. If your ex changes their mind and wants to reconnect, they must unblock you first, and at that stage they will likely reach out to you. So the number one reason, and the most important reason you might say, as for why a dumper might unblock a dumpee, is because they've regrown attraction and they are considering reconnecting. Now this isn't the only reason. And although this reason is wonderful for a dumpee to see, there are other reasons that we need to consider. And this is why I will be getting into points 2 and 3, which aren't necessarily as positive for a dumpee if and when they hope to reconnect. So now let's get into point number 2 and the second reason as for why a dumper might unblock their dumpee. And point number 2 is the dumpee show stability. Now this is positive. It's positive that the dumpee is showing a stable mind, but it's unfortunately not as positive in regarding if and when a dumper decides to unblock their ex, because it is not on the basis of wanting to reconnect. So one of the reasons, as I said earlier, that a dumper might block their former partner is because the dumpee was acting in a needy way, in a way where they don't take no for an answer. Now, if the dumpee starts to showcase themselves in a more positive light, if they're showing stability of mind, if they have not tried to cheat the blocking, if they're behaving in a way where friends of friends might get back to the dumper and say, you know what, your ex is a lot more stable-minded now, they're a lot more chilled, they're a lot more relaxed. This is a possibility. As for why a dumper might unblock their dumpee, not because they want to reconnect, but just because they're thinking to themselves, you know what, one day in the future, maybe we could speak as platonic friends. And this is the first step. The first step is me unblocking them. They may or may not notice this, but this is me offering an olive branch, you might say, kind of saying, look, I trust you that if I unblock you, you're not going to bombard me with messages. And this is very important to understand. If a dumpee sees that they've been unblocked by their dumper, I do not suggest they try and contact them. Just let it be known and understand that the dumper is thinking of you in a more positive light now, and they may one day in the future want to reach out to you. But I do not suggest you jump the gun, because this might be playing into the whole concept that you don't have stability of mind if instantly you start bombarding your ex with messages. No, don't do this. Just enjoy the fact that they're starting to warm with the idea that maybe one day in the future, they may reach out to you. Now, as a dumpee, you need to be moving forward with your life. You can't be hanging on to this possibility that you might hear from your ex again, even if they do unblock you. Just take it as a positive statement, but don't believe that you're going to hear from them again anytime soon, because unfortunately, there is no guarantee that you will. But it is positive that they now trust you. They trust you that they can unblock you, but you're not going to chase them. So if you find out you've been unblocked, use this as a positive boost to your morale, but don't start trying to act on it. Just see if and when you hear from your ex. Like I said though, if you do hear from your ex, it won't necessarily mean that they want to reconnect. It might be that they want to chat as platonic friends. At this stage, it will be up to you how you react to this. I strongly suggest not accepting an active platonic friendship if you still have romantic feelings for somebody. This will not help you, and this will be unlikely to evolve into something romantic. So if you hear from your ex and they make it clear they are only interested in a platonic chat, and you still have romantic feelings, then I suggest that you politely and positively decline having an active platonic friendship. This doesn't mean you can't speak every so often, but make sure this isn't an active friendship where you are speaking weekly or even monthly, and make sure you're not spending time together physically, because this will not help you get your ex back, and this certainly won't be helpful in enabling you to move forward with your life and meeting somebody even better. So if you've been dumped, if you've been blocked, if you've been unblocked, this might be because your dumper now sees but you're showing stability of mind and they trust you, which is great, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they want to reconnect with you romantically. So now let's get into point number 3 and the final point of today's podcast about why a dumper might unblock their dumpee. And point number 3 is time heals. So something to consider as well is the fact that time heals all wounds, or that is what the saying says. I like to describe this somewhat connected with the fading effect bias. The fading effect bias is the concept that as time moves forward, negative thoughts and memories fade sooner than positive memories. Negative memories aren't forgotten completely, but they have less effect, they have less power, they hold less weight, whereas positive memories hold their strength for much, much longer. So there is a possibility that you've been unblocked, not because your ex wants to reconnect with you romantically, and not because your ex even wants to contact you in the future, but simply because your ex is feeling, you know what, as time has moved forward, I don't feel this animosity anymore. I don't feel that I can't move forward in a way where I unblock my ex. I can do this now. They might feel like a big weight has been lifted off their shoulders for whatever reason this may be, and they decide to unblock you. This could be for them more than for you. It could be something for them where they feel, you know what, I now no longer feel these negative feelings when I consider my ex. I no longer worry about how they're going to make me feel if I bump into their social media status, if I see what they're posting on social media or online or in any other respect in which I blocked them. I'm not fearful of this. It doesn't affect my life anymore. I'm just going to unblock them. Time heals all wounds, the fading effect bias has come into play, and I no longer have this animosity, these negative feelings when I consider my ex, and hence I feel that I can unblock them and still move forward in a way where I don't want to reach out to them, I certainly don't want to connect with them, but I will feel better about it if I just unblock them. Now again, if you're a dumpee and you find this out, this might be a situation where you want to reach out to your ex, but look, if they want to reconnect with you, they will likely reach out to you first. I strongly suggest that if you've been dumped, you should never contact your ex again unless they contact you first. Because if they don't do this, it's unlikely they are feeling enough romantic emotional attraction to move this in a direction that you are happy with. So ultimately, if you're a dumpee and you've been unblocked after you realise you had been blocked, it's a good sign. You know, at the very least, your ex is no longer feeling these negative thoughts, this animosity towards you. Maybe a little better than that, they actually want to reach out to you in a platonic sense, or maybe even still, they want to reconnect romantically. So it's positive, but it's not going to be necessarily what you are wanting. Always remember that if you hear from your dumper again, you have every right to decline what they are offering if it doesn't fit in with what you are hoping for as well. You are a single person, they are a single person, and you both have the rights to move forward in a future that you both want at this time. If you believe that this podcast has helped you, then please consider buying me a coffee. The link to do so is in the description.
Yeah, if you miss your ex, we can help with that. Help you get him back, or we can help find you someone else. Yeah, Vincent, the relationship coach, giving you some insight, bringing you a new approach. DateMe.tips, go and check the site, giving you advice, helping with your love life. Get your ex back, or move to the next. Ain't no sweat, you know Vincent got you. Finding love ain't no problem. Yeah, DateMe.tips, check it out now.